But eventually she does find Owen, and there's a scene that's fairly infamous at this point, which is the fully fully nude sex scene.
It's fine.
It's fine, yeah. I get why people were talking about it, because it's like, I don't know, video games or movies now. Movies have sex scenes.
Yeah, and you know what? I guess if we want to compare other shit, like, I remember people talking about The Witcher 2's sex scene.
Yeah.
Which came out, like, in, I guess around the same time as the first Last of Us. And, and people always talking about this shit. People talked about, like, the first Mass Effect.
Right. Actually, this is interesting. So the first Mass Effect, people were mad at the sex scenes. Even though there's no nudity in that game.
You see, like, the side ass, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's it. But no one... Okay, but, like, Fox News was mad about Mass Effect.
It's a new role-playing video game that is leaving nothing to the imagination. Mass Effect is what it's called. It's made for Microsoft's Xbox system, and it features in some parts of this, you'll see full digital nudity. Imagine.
Yeah,
like,
that's when
newspapers were mad about Mass Effect. No one outside of the gamer sphere was mad about this, even though it is straight up like full nudity on screen.
No, and it was just people like it was
gamers thinking it's cringe.
PewDiePie could like squeal at it.
Oh, okay.
And go, right. Oh my god.
But the newspaper, but the mainstream press, who if this had come out 15 years ago would have flipped their shit, did not care at all.
Which I guess it's not even the first sex scene in the game, because, Ellie and Dina, it cuts quicker.
But that's like PG-13 cutaway stuff. Like, there's a clear difference between that.
This shit's pretty fucking tame, too. All things considered.
No, but you do see some titties.
Yeah.
In it, and that's like the big ooh thing.
Yeah.
Because
and not just that, it's a muscly woman. Yeah, it's a fucking muscly woman with titties, and that if you're already on the hate train, it's like, oh, this is mega cringe.
Yeah, but I just think I don't know if it's a sign that the mainstream, like, video games used to be the culture war lightning rod of bullshit, where it's like, oh my god, this is destroying our children.
We are determined to stop a situation in which video games with pornographic and violent content are being peddled to our children.
And I don't know what it is that made, like, genuinely full sex in a game no longer shocking to the mainstream media. If I had to guess, it's because the reason Mass Effect got everyone freaking out is because most people who were working at these legacy media outlets were older, and their primary view was video games are for children. Every video game's primary audience is children.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, people who are 35 don't believe that.
Yeah, I wonder
in 2020, people who are 35 and writing for the New York Times or whatever don't believe that at all.
Yeah.
Because they play video games.
I wonder if this ties in. I mean, maybe you could say it ties into, like the Gamergate reactionary stuff, in the sense that
the right-wing position can no longer be games are bad.
Yeah, just like
get rid of them.
Like I said, like that asshole Gavin McGinnis.
Video games are for little kids. Why are adults playing video games?
Or no. It was the gay Nazi.
I know you Milo. I don't want to be offensive to the lovely Greek people, but I cannot say his name. Yes, where like 2 days before Gamergate, he had this article on his shitty WordPress blog about how anyone who plays video games over the age of 15 is a loser. And that was like the conservative culture warrior position on video games before 2014, was that they are bad.
Yeah, and now it's like, and the last time I heard like mainstream conservatism was like Trump said some shit about violent video games at like one of the mass shootings.
Yeah, but he barely remembers to tie his shoes.
I know, that's what I'm saying, is like, that's like, the last time I remember.
Also, he is a, like, nearly 80-year-old man.
Yeah.
Like, he's old. But the guys who are 35 and writing for Ben Shapiro's shitty website,
they play
memo. Video games.
This is how you. This is what. That's the dog in your fight is now to say. I mean, to say
too
that
much diversity. Like, people
you're putting lesbians and muscle women on our games,
right?
You know?
But not the nudity. It's not the nudity itself, or the sexual content itself, or the violent content itself. All of which would have been insanely. The player character kills a pregnant woman. It's conceptually horrifying to kill a pregnant woman.
Yeah,
you don't do it as the player. Obviously, it's in the cutscene.
Yeah,
but still. Can you imagine if this game had come out in 2009 and what kind of insane cultural reaction there would have been?
Oh, that'd be so cool.
That would be hilarious. But no one cared in the mainstream press. No one cared.
And all this shit going on, and when I watched the scene, I was just thinking...
nothing. It's boring.
No, well, specifically, I was thinking about when they take their shirts off, and I was like... that shit is like the most difficult thing to do because if you pay attention in a lot of games, they will avoid showing characters changing clothes because that's
because they figured out how to do it in Uncharted.
Yeah, it's like they really wanted this sex scene because
people were posting not this because they would get flagged by Twitter, but the earlier scene you talked about where Ellie takes her tank top off and her back is all cut up and bruised.
Yeah,
because that's insanely hard. Like a slow held shot of a character taking their shirt off is extremely difficult to animate with this type of rendering. So it's technically impressive.
Yeah, you know what? That's what you ever
That's a
see
weird
those...
thing to say about a sex scene.
Yeah, that is the weirdest. That's so. Prestige video games is like that is
looking
the most
at a sex scene and saying it's technically impressive.
Well rendered, technically impressive sex scene I've seen.
Yeah,
I
can't imagine any movie where you would say that.
Yeah, the Source filmmaker Overwatch people really have to step up their game.
I'm glad I don't know what you're referencing. Don't explain it to me.